Welcome to Thunder Bay Live. We're here at the Renaissance Cafe, and I am pleased to have Patty Hajdu, the new member of Thunder Bay Superior North Member of Parliament.
Right.
Patty, first of all, congratulations. I think the people are very, very excited to have you there. You're the first woman MP for Thunder Bay Superior North.
That's right.
What does it feel like waking up this morning and facing the world? How did you feel?
Well, it's been phenomenal. What an experience. The whole journey has been an incredible experience from the very beginning. I've been a candidate. I was the candidate for well over a year by the time election night came along. And I've had an incredible team of volunteers and donors and supporters and encouragers, and my family has been amazingly supportive. But that night was almost unreal. Like, it was surreal in a way. I mean, the CTV news was playing in the background, and of course we were watching the red surge across the Atlantic provinces, and then when our polls started to come in and we saw the numbers, people were screaming and ecstatic, and I actually didn't believe it. By the time I got interviewed by the news, they were saying, "You've won." And I said, "No, you know what? Let's not count our chickens before they're hatched." But in fact, they knew then, and I had been declared the winner on CTV. So it was almost surreal, and I think it's just starting to sink in now what it all means. There's a period of time that I understand from other new elected MPs and MPPs where you don't really know what's going on because you're elected and then what. But now we're starting to get calls from the House of Commons and starting to get some direction about how we're going to move forward. So exhilarating, very exciting, incredibly grateful for all the support from everybody.
Well, Patty, I know that you worked extremely hard this past year. What is the toll on you, your family, personally, emotionally, physically, psychologically? What does it feel like when you're going through something like this sort of pressure?
It was intense, especially during the actual writ period. Of course, leading up to it, it was juggling a job and being the candidate. And I actually finished my master's during that year as well. So I was used to 14-hour days. So the writ was dropped, and it was 14-hour days, but all campaign all the time. By then I had graduated and, of course, took a leave from Shelter House. So it was exhausting at times. It was monotonous at times, but it was also incredibly fulfilling to see this team come together and work so tightly and so well. To hear people's stories at the door, so moving, right? I mean, you hear these stories and you know what you have to do as an elected official is bring those stories forward and use those as tools to advocate. I am tired, but not in an exhausted way. More in a, phew, so, what's next way? Yeah.
And I understand you had a great strategy. Like you mentioned that you went to bed early, got up early. You really thought about the physical part of it.
I did. I learned really early on that sleep was going to be something that got me through, and so I made a commitment to myself to turn my phone off by 10:30 at the latest and go to bed and be asleep by 11, which sometimes it was earlier. We put in full days, but by the time they were over, then I was really turned off for 7-8 hours, slept well, and then got up early in the morning and did all my correspondence before the day began. We met usually in the mornings for half an hour, and then we would go out and do whatever activities we had planned that day, whether it was canvassing or events, both usually. And so I think it was the sleep. I also stayed really hydrated, drank a lot of water. I had laryngitis in the middle of it, so I was forced to take a day and a half off in the middle of the campaign. It was nice because it was still summer, so we weren't in full gear yet with people back from camp and that kind of thing. But I did take the day and a half off that the speech pathologist recommended so that my voice would come back. But that was the only day I took off. And so it was, we worked hard for 78 days.
Now, Patty, is there anything you want to say to the fellow sort of competitors that were out there that did run their campaigns? Anything you want to say to them?
Absolutely. I think everybody ran a really honorable campaign. Very little sort of mudslinging. Of course, we had to debate when we debated, and that's just part of it. It's the nature of a debate, is that you're there to highlight your strengths and your opponent's weaknesses, and that's what a debate's all about, is why your plan is better and why you're better. But generally speaking, it was a very clean campaign. I thought that our plan was the strongest, and it was my goal to demonstrate that to the community, that I was probably in the best position to represent them, and that was my job. And I think people were very respectful of one another throughout. We had great candidates. We had people with lots of experience, both political experience and others. I think we did well. Yeah.
And today you wake up, your phone's ringing, emails are coming. What's that like?
Well, it's interesting because I do pride myself on being someone who answers every email and answers every call and gets back to every person, and I like to try and do that within 48 hours. Of course, there's some times where it takes longer to get an answer for someone, but generally I set a benchmark of 48 hours or sooner. And it's just been impossible to keep up within that time frame. So I'm trying really diligently to make sure that I respond to every text and every Facebook message and every email. And I'm finding it is a little challenging right now to keep up, just because there's so many people that want to either set up a meeting to meet, or that they want to relay their congratulations, or they want to tell me their story. And so we're working really hard to do that, but right now I'm teamless as well. I don't have staff. I don't have an official phone number. I don't even have an office. So trying very much to make sure I correspond with people as best as I can, and we'll get back to our normal response time as soon as we get through the rush.
Well, Patty, first of all, once again, I want to congratulate you. I want to think it's a great thing for Thunder Bay to have 2 representatives. There are in the majority.
Absolutely. That was a bit of a surprise. We knew we were going to, well, I shouldn't say we knew. We felt really positive that we were going to win this election as the time drew on towards voting day. But a majority, of course, was, for me, it was a surprise. Maybe there were other people that weren't surprised, but for me, it was a surprise. I always like to try to keep my expectations a little realistic. So I was just looking for, at least that we would have a new prime minister. That was my hope. I really wanted to see the Liberal Party lead this country, and of course, Justin Trudeau be the prime minister. But wow, what an opportunity to make some change quickly.
Well, we hope that someday you can get Justin to come in here and sit down with us and we'll have a discussion with him. I hope that happens.
We can try. I mean, he was here twice last year. He was here in February. He was here just before the election. He knows we're here. He knows who I am. We're on the map, and I think that's not far from the realm of possibility. It might not happen this year, and it depends on how their priorities unfold. But the other thing is he's very committed to Indigenous leadership. So obviously we know that in Thunder Bay Rainy River we have an Indigenous candidate, and I think Justin will be wanting to meet with Indigenous leaders across the country. So that will be something that will draw him here as well. So I will work on it.
Thank you, Patty, for coming here today. It's a busy day. The day after, she took the time to come here and be on Thunder Bay Live, so I really thank you for that. You've got a lot to do. You've got a lot of things on your plate. I just want you to know that there's a lot of people behind you, and they'll believe in you, and they want you to do really well.
Oh, so thank you. And thanks for your support. It's been always wonderful. And, as we talked earlier, I reached out to you as a city councillor a few times when I heard constituent concerns that were municipal in nature. And I really appreciate you getting back to me and advocating on behalf of those people with city, because their problems were resolved. So thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Thunder Bay Live with Patty Hajdu, member of Superior North. I had a hard time saying it now because my tongue gets tied all the time, but I just can't say it because I'm very excited for her and for her future for Thunder Bay. Thunder Bay Live, Renaissance Cafe. Join us as we interview many, many other people. Take care and have a great day. Thank you. And thanks again, Pat.
Thank you very much, Aldo.